ಸರ್ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ, ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ವೆಂಕಟಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಮ್ಮ.
ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಮೇಡಮ್. ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಮೇಡಮ್.
ಸರ್ ನಾನು ವಿವೇಕ ಗಿರಿಜನ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಹೊಸಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್.
ಹೊಸಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ?
ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ಹೊಸಳ್ಳಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಆದಿವಾಸಿ ಜನಾಂಗದ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕಿಯಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಸುಮಾರು 6 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ನಾನು ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಅದು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲೊಂದು ಗರಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಗುಡಿಸ್ಲಿತ್ತು ಮೇಡಮ್. ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಾಲು ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದು. ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಗುಡಿಸಲು ಹಾಕಿ ನಾವು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಂದ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಂಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಜನರೇಟರ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಡಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಡಿಗೆಯವ್ರು ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ನಾವು, ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಊಟಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕೋದಕ್ಕೆ. ನಾನು ಬಾಲು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಬಿಡೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ. ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕಿಟಕಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಹೆಣ್ಮಗಳು ಅಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಳ್ತಾಳಕ್ಕೆ, ಊಟ ಬೇಡ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಶಿ ಸೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಹರ್ ಸನ್ ಈಟಿಂಗ್ ರೈಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಂತ. ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದಿ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಅಟ್ ದಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಸರ್. ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟ ಇತ್ತು ಅದು. ನೆನ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ SVYM ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಮೂವ್ಡ್ ಎ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷ.
Mele, we can start.
Yeah, thank you, Praveen, and thank you everyone, all the panelists for joining us here today, and thank you to the audience. I'm so happy to see so many people join us today for this session where we will kind of go over what we have learned, and we have with us a really great set of panelists. So our format would be we will have maybe the first 20-25 minutes of discussion with 3 teachers and administrators who have been listening to this session from the beginning. And then we would have Mr. Satish share some thoughts, then Dr. Gurraj Kauragi share some thoughts, and then finally our Balu will close the session. So let me start by introducing myself. I'm Mele. I am with Asha for Education. I now live in the US. I'm originally from Mysore. And I have known SVYM and Praveen and Arbalu for a very long time. And I volunteer for an organization called Asha for Education that is based in the US and some European countries and India too. And our goal is to improve access and quality of education to children in disadvantaged situations in India. So we have been doing this work for the last 30 years or so, and I have been maybe volunteering for 20 years or so. So when first Praveen approached me about this and he suggested this, it was the beginning of COVID. Schools were closing down. We didn't know what to do. The idea of doing something online appealed to me because suddenly we were able to do this online. All this technology was available. And then what really appealed to me and what Praveen proposed was that we are going to have a series of interactions with various educationists. And why this appealed to me is I feel one problem after long years of working with education, I feel one problem is that just like with many other things related to education, even the teacher education programs and all of that tend to be focused on, okay, telling teachers, here's what you do. We just say that, okay, here's a good teaching methodology, you should adopt it. Or here is something new technique that somebody has learned and then you should adopt it. We don't have many opportunities for saying that here are all the resources we are making available for teachers so that teachers can form their own opinions. And I think that is very, very, very important. I mean, teachers have such a great responsibility when it comes to working with the next generation of children. It is so important what they do. And yet the focus has always been, we will tell you how to do things rather than teachers themselves able to form their own ideas by looking at various resources and so on that are available. So that really appealed to me when what Praveen said. So I talked to my fellow Asha volunteers here and we agreed to support this. So just to quickly give you a couple of examples, you might have heard of there was this, I forget the name of the specific scheme, but there is another nonprofit which gives like a $1 million prize to like the best teacher that they select around the world. And this year, or maybe late last year, 2020, it was given to a teacher who's teaching in a primary school in a village in Maharashtra. And when you look at this teacher's profile, it is not that he had, I mean, he was trained with special teachers. It was not that he was trained in any special school or special college. It's just that he looked at what was needed to be done, and he decided that he was going to do this. And he decided this is what is necessary for the children in that particular village, looking at the circumstances in that particular village, and he decided that this is what needs to be done. He formed his own ideas on what needs to be done. And I feel that every human being has this potential to create their own ideas, and every teacher has this potential to create your own ideas and do things that are necessary to be done in whatever work you're doing, and when you're teaching in a school or teaching children and so on. I've seen this in various teachers we worked with as part of the Vijnana Vedike that SPYM has been working on. So I really was excited about enabling that for more teachers through the Guru Manthan platform. So that is what Asha for Education was hoping this series would accomplish. And with that, now I'm going to start I'll introduce the three panelists that we will have around a 20-minute discussion to see whether what we had hoped to achieve, whether we achieved that, or maybe we achieved something else that was equally interesting or equally important. But so let me start with that discussion. So we have with us three people who have been very regularly attending all the sessions. One is Venkatlakshmama ma'am, who is a teacher at the Viveka Tribal Center for Learning, VTCL, that is run by SVYM. And then we have Gopal Krishna sir, who is an administrator with the Jawaharlal Navodaya Vidyalaya schools. That is the government set of schools within the government school system for bright rural students. And then Anuradha ma'am, who is a teacher at the Manipal school. So, so with this, I think a very good set of panelists representing different types of schools. Let me start by perhaps asking Venkatlakshma ma'am about her experience. Like, did it match what you wanted, what you were expecting when you started this series? And please feel free to answer either in Kannada or English. I think everyone here understands Kannada. So Venkatlakshma ma'am, would you like to share your thoughts? Okay, she's not available. I'll come back to you. Let me start with Anuradha ma'am then. Anuradha ma'am, maybe you could share your thoughts on whether this matched your expectations, what was different, what you got out of this, and what your takeaway was. It would be great to hear from you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Anuradha Shivram, principal of Manipal School, Bangalore. And I have been attending the Guru Manthan talks almost every week. I might have missed a few, but then I made it a point to watch the recorded versions on YouTube. But what impressed me the most about these talks were that they were so very well planned, and the speakers were, kind of handpicked. So the talk was very well structured, and everything about the talk, the introduction, the conclusion were, emphasized very well. And the journey has been enriching for me, the journey of Guru Manthan. For personally, it has been enriching for me, and I have gained a lot, I would say, gained a lot of insights into various aspects of education. Maybe I've read about these things always, but then attending the Guru Manthan and listening to people who have been working, who have expertise in these fields, made a difference definitely to me. And like I said, it was a wonderful experience. whether it met my expectations or not, actually I entered into it without any expectations. That's how I usually approach things. I don't, set expectations generally. I prefer to take things the way they come. And I was definitely not disappointed, I would say.
I'm very glad to hear that, ma'am. Could you also talk a little bit about what would be like your one takeaway, if you had to say one takeaway?
Actually, there are a whole lot of them. In fact, I was particularly impressed with Dr. Neerja Raghavan's, thinking teacher. How she felt that, just like how you said in your introduction, that teachers are capable of thinking. It's just that, we administrators assume that teachers cannot think for themselves, and we believe that we have to supply everything from lesson plans to teaching aids to everything should be made ready-made and given, and then only teachers will teach the way we want them to teach. So I do give a certain amount of freedom to my teachers, and we have a framework, but then teachers are free to implement their ideas. And this particular talk actually impressed me a lot. And there was another talk by Professor Rajaram Sharma where he emphasized on learning for learning. So, encourage schools to, indulge in more self-directed learning. So both these talks impressed me a lot. And of course, there were a lot many talks, but then, like I said, it's not possible to implement everything. But I have taken teacher reflections to my school. And now every Wednesday when I have my staff meeting, we set a theme and we reflect on that theme. And all of us have a reflection journal that we are maintaining now. In fact, today one of my teachers came and told me that actually we started off with writing a letter to the teacher who impressed you the most. So this was a suggestion that Dr. Neerja had given in her talk, and I started my reflection journey with that. And all teachers wrote letters to the teacher who impressed them the most. And today, one of my teachers came and told me she actually sent that letter to her principal, to whom she had written on Guru Purnima day. And the principal was so happy to receive it from her. So, this has definitely made a difference to me and my school.
Yeah. That's a great story. And I believe Dr. Neerja is in the audience. So I'm sure she's very happy to hear this from you, ma'am. Thank you. And now I believe Venkatalakshmi ma'am is back. So let me ask her what her thoughts were and whether it met her expectations. And maybe she could also talk about her one takeaway. Venkatalakshmi ma'am, are you there?
ಹೌದು ಸರ್ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಮಳೆ ಇತ್ತು, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೆಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಯ್ತು ನೋಡಿದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕ್ಷಮಿಸಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಗುರುಮಂಥನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಮುಂಚೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಹಲವಾರು ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಮಂಥನಗಳು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಚರ್ಚೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಅವಕಾಶಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆಲೋಚನೆ ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಆ ಆಲೋಚನೆಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಸಹ ಈ ಒಂದು ಗುರುಮಂಥನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಒದಗಿಸ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣಗಳು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾವು ಹಲವಾರು ವಿಚಾರಗಳು ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರನ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ನಾವು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಅವರ ಅಂತರ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಂಥನಗಳು ಉಂಟಾಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರು ಆ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಒಂದು ಉದ್ಗಾರ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಮತ್ತು ರೋಮಾಂಚನ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಮತ್ತು ಕನಸು ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರಶಂಸೆಗಳು, ಇವುಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಯು ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ಒಳಪಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಇಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾವಲಯ ಒಂದು ಕಲ್ಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳನ್ನ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಅವರನ್ನ ಸೇರಿಸಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರು ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿದಾಯಕವಾಗಿ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಆ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಗುರುಮಂಥನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಹಲವಾರು ಒಂದು 50 ಸೆಷನ್ಸ್ಗಳು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಕಲೆಯ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥೈಸುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಸಮುದಾಯದ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥೈಸುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಈ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಲವಾರು ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಗುರುಮಂಥನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮುದಾಯವನ್ನು ಸಹ ನಾವು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹೇಗ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಇಷ್ಟವಾಗಿದ್ದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸಮುದಾಯವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದ ಒಳಗಡೆ ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಸಮುದಾಯದ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಉತ್ತಮವಾದ ಬಾಂಧವ್ಯಗಳನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಆ ಬಾಂಧವ್ಯಗಳು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪೋಷಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಶಾಲೆ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅವು ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಸಹ ಜೊತೆಯಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಆ ಒಂದು ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಗುರುಮಂಥನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಬಹಳ ಅನುಕೂಲವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಸಮುದಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಹಲವಾರು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವಿಭಿನ್ನ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕಾರಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅನುಭವಗಳನ್ನ ಶಾಲೆಯ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋದಾಗ ನಾವು ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಕಲಿಕೆ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಮಕ್ಕಳ ವರ್ತನೆಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರ ಒಂದು ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟವನ್ನು ಸಹ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಗುರುಮಂಥನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ರೀಡೆಯ ಮೂಲಕವೂ ಸಹ ನಾವು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣವನ್ನ ಉನ್ನತ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನನ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಷ್ಟ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ, ಈಗ NEP 2020 ಒಂದು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ನೀತಿ, ಹೊಸ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ನೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಸ್ತೂರಿ ರಂಗನ್ ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಹಲವಾರು ಆ ಒಂದು ಅಂಶಗಳು, ಹೊಸತನದ ಅಂಶಗಳು, ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ತಂದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂದಿನ ಒಂದು ಆಧುನಿಕದ ಒಂದು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಪದ್ಧತಿಯನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿನ ವರ್ಷಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಒಂದು ಪದ್ಧತಿಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಹಂತವಾಗಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ಉನ್ನತವಾದ ಒಂದು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಮಟ್ಟವನ್ನ, ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟವನ್ನ ನಾವು ದೇಶ ಕಾಣ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಲ್ಲಿ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಶಾಲಾ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲೇ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಆ ಒಂದು ಮಗು ಆ ಒಂದು ಶಾಲೆಯನ್ನ ಪರಿಪೂರ್ಣ ಮಾಡಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಉನ್ನತ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕನ ಹೋದಾಗ ಅದು ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ವೃತ್ತಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಮಗು ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ತಯಾರಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಆ ಒಂದು ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದ ಪದ್ಧತಿಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಹೊಸತನವಾಗಿ ತಂದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಹಲವಾರು ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಪದ್ಧತಿಗಳು ಸಹ ನನಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಅನುಕೂಲವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಆಲೋಚನೆಗಳನ್ನ, ನನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಜ್ಞಾನದ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಸಹ ಈ ಒಂದು ಗುರುಮಂಥನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಅನುಕೂಲವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ.
ನಿಮ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ ಟೀಚಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಾ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, ಈ ಐಡಿಯಾಲ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ?
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗಾಗ್ಲೇ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗಾಗ್ಲೇ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಕಲಿಕಾ ಪಠ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಕಲಿಕೇತರ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಈಗ ನಾವು ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅಂತ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ IPT ಅಂತ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಟೈಲರಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ತರದ ಒಂದು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ತರಬೇತಿಗಳನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಈಗಾಗ್ಲೇನೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಮತ್ತಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದ ಪದ್ಧತಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಆ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಉತ್ತಮವಾಗಿ ಇನ್ನಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನು ಆಗ್ಬೋದು.
Okay, thank you very much. So Gopal Krishna sir, now you are an administrator and you oversee a large set of schools.
Yes.
So I'm very interested in your thoughts and in particular how this can be taken forward in terms of institutionalizing some of the learning from a session like this.
A very good evening to all of you, ma'am. On the auspicious day of Guru Purnima, it is my fortune to greet all the gurus. A very great day. Ma'am, this 50 lecture series organized by WeLead with the support of Asha Foundation has been a source of awakening for the entire school systems in the country. I would say I am representing around 645 schools which are spread across the country, one in each district. I found these lecture series as the integral dimensions of the holistic education. Due to paucity of time, the organization could only conduct an inspirational talks on the essential elements of the holistic education. Each resource person, having seen the depth of their knowledge, we could easily find out that they have lived their thoughts. And after listening to them, I am able to reconstruct that the new education policy is the result of such renowned educationists. So from that perspective, this Guru Manthan series have given us an opportunity to explore different dimensions of the teacher competencies that we are supposed to think about in the future. So each topic whether it is inclusive classrooms or joyful learning or fostering innovations, whatever topic you take, it is there to be as part of quality education. When we say quality education, that education which keeps the child at the center, and that education which leads learning. So all these series have very elaborately covered curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment. So that's how I said that it has taken care of the 360 degree of the holistic education for the development of the children. And in the modern days, to make the child a global citizen. So now is the time that these resource persons who have rendered their expertise and their wisdom are further taken into our consideration to frame, elaborate competency building programs, capacity building programs, and innovative programs and all those things. And that's how I am looking at it. And I have already proposed most of these topics to be incorporated into our training programs at a national level. So we have 7 Navodaya leadership institutes which cater to capacity building of the teachers, principals, vice principal, and so on and so forth. So now we are going to keep these topics which have been part of Guru Manthan series as the integral parts to be taken care when we are implementing training for the teachers. So by default, these things also are covered under the new education policy. So we are being current with the topic, and we are also being proactive, and we are being futuristic. And that's how these programs have given us abundant insights into the areas of necessity, the areas of requirement for building the teachers to lead the learning at school level. So from that perspective, I feel that this has been a wonderful initiative, and the kind of wisdom that has been shared by the resource persons is of something, marvelous. Each person needs to be part of now further programs. And that's how I have already requested Praveenji to be with us to bring that expertise into, to flow into Navodaya system, which will percolate to the entire country.
So, sir, a follow-up question for you. So, you think that, like in the 650 schools that you have and various schools that are reached through the teacher education programs, you think there will be equal enthusiasm when these teachers also come to discuss these topics and so on? I mean, even if they have not participated in these sessions?
We have shared the links across the country. Immediately after the session is over, I used to take the link from Praveenji and shared through the principals, deputy commissioners, and all those things. Now it has gone to the entire country. Now is the time that again we bring them onto different platforms and handhold them and show them the essentiality of these programs. Now it is our job to take them further, in our fold.
Yeah, that would be our, from Asha for Education point of view, that would be our fervent hope.
Yes.
That
that
this
we would also come back to them for any support that we require. Because on mission mode, I think we need to take all these topics that we have covered as part of Guru Manthan to percolate it to all the school systems of the country.
Right. So do you have any one, we have just 2 more minutes finish. Do you have any single takeaway that you would like to share for us, an administrator?
Yes, I am.
You shared many thoughts.
With the thought of inclusive, the changed version of inclusive classrooms. It is not that physical challenged children need to be addressed to their needs. It is by keeping in view the different levels of learning, different socio-economic backgrounds of the children, and we need to build inclusive classrooms. Then only we'll be able to mentor them to reach up to a particular level. So that particular aspect was very impressive, and we are working on that already.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And I see there are some comments that came in which said they're proud to be a Navodayan, and I've heard many good things about the school. So thank you for taking the time to attend all of these sessions and to be a part of this. And one thing I was thinking when all 3 of you were speaking is that I think one thing that has really come about is there's a strong network now.
Yes.
With very many different educationists who all, I was so impressed that all of them will share their contact information very happily. They will give their email address and they will encourage teachers to write to them. And that's a very good resource for teachers to follow. I myself want to follow up with many of them, including the folks here. So I'm looking forward to the network being developed and used well by all of these teachers, know that everybody is good. So that is very heartening to see as well. I believe there are also many of the speakers in the audience. I want to thank everyone again for all the time and effort that you took and for giving excellent lectures. I think each and every lecture was spectacular and very good. So I want to thank everyone very much again. And with that, I would like to bring request Satish sir to say a few words. Satish sir and I share an interesting background. I studied at demonstration school where I think Satish sir also taught. Unfortunately, we did not overlap. I think I left just before he joined. I don't think I took a class from him, but my sister has taken classes for him and has very fond memories of him. And Satish sir, of course, gave an excellent talk himself. So Satish sir, could you share in the next 10 minutes some of your thoughts and what you would like to see in the future? And so
very much, Dr. Milial. At the outset, I would like to bow to the feet of those gurus who have guided generations through their thoughts and value-driven life. I bow to them. I also bow to the teachers here. SVYM had started a new initiative called Guru Manthan in the year 2019. It was a platform for creative teachers to showcase what they had done, their best classroom practices. It was a highly successful experiment. And SVYM was planning to take it further to new places and also with a new set of teachers. Unfortunately, we caught up with COVID and it was a challenging situation, and SVYM is known to invent newer ways of empowering teachers, and adversities don't stop them. They will find new ways of connecting with teachers, and one such initiative is this. And it started on 1st of August 2020 and 50th program was concluded on 17th July. And what a journey it was. And each one of those lectures made us to think. Manthan itself, after all, what is Manthan? It is to churn. So, kadiyodu anta karitivu. Kannadadalli mosaru kadiyodu. Mantu anta helta idru nammalli. So, the churning rod. So, each one of these presentations made us to think on a wide variety of topics. Some of them we had not even thought of. It was on equity, it was on ethical dilemma, it was on ECC, early childhood education, it was on reflective practices in teachers, it was about use of technology, the challenges of facing, reshaping the classrooms in the COVID situation. I think it was an amazing journey. I personally got benefited from listening to these lectures. Although some of the lectures I missed live, I caught up with them on YouTube, and it was so empowering. The kind of people who got associated, you have mentioned about some of them are practicing teachers, some of them were bureaucrats, some of them are policymakers, some of them were in the educational administration. A whole gamut of people who had different experience in their own field could share the essence of their experience. After all, 20 to 30 minutes of presentation is not good enough for a very longish presentation, but in a nutshell, they could present to us in a very, very lucid way that we could all understand. And actually, these lectures opened our minds to new horizons of education. It took us beyond the boundaries we had drawn for ourselves. So, ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಸರಹದ್ದುಗಳನ್ನು ಮೀರೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. boundaries, I mean, transgressing the boundaries of our own thinking, our own understanding. In that way, it was an extraordinary effort on the part of SVYM and ably supported by Asha for Education. And I thank all of them for this effort. The other thing I want to say is the first lecture by Dr. Gururaj Karajigi. It was like a keynote address for the remaining 49 lectures. And the way he said who is a guru was indeed was really an eye-opener. And actually, what he said was, he classified the teachers as novice teachers, proficient teachers, veteran teachers, transformative teachers, and eventually the guru. And he said, a guru is actually transforms through the touch of his hand. Extraordinary way of looking at the teaching profession. And it served as a keynote address. And several other people, some of them we cannot even hope to meet in our lifetime directly. So people like Dr. Kasturi Rangan, Mr. T.S. Krishnamurthy, people of such stature were interacting with us, and it was not that other presentations who are not so well known their presentations were of any lesser value. In fact, each one of these were eye openers, made us think. It really churned, and therefore I am extremely thankful to all those resource persons and the organizers for this effort. The other thing I want to say is the fact that we listen and we are more likely to forget about it. 1 or 2 days it will linger in our minds, and finally we say that it was a good lecture, it was presented well, and finally what happens as an outcome of these efforts is the question. What next? In the Indian philosophy, sometimes it is said that there are 4 stages of transformation: Shruti, Smriti, Dhriti, and Kriti. Shruti is we listen, we learn through reading, through listening, interacting with people, but we soon forget. Once we learn new things, it should result in Smriti. That means we must remember, we must actually think about those issues, make it our own. Finally, it should result in a new conviction that we need to change. And the last step is to translate that into action. Without action, no good idea remains as a good idea. No good idea is a good idea if it is not translated into action. Several new ideas emerged, and if that doesn't result in some concrete action at the grassroots level, I think the purpose gets defeated. Although the focus in all these presentations were teachers and adults, the undercurrent that I discovered were the students. Finally, the empowerment of teachers is fostered in order to bring about a change in the way children are brought up into the society. So the social transformation that we need to achieve by empowering children, the undercurrent was children's personality, children's learning, and the way children are to be educated. And this is my takeaway from this. The undercurrent was singularly on students, but not many speakers use the word student in our presentations, in their presentations, but the underlying factor was students' education, their empowerment, and finally, through them, the transformation of the society. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Satish sir. I also really liked what you said about when we think about this, it has to become part of us. It's not that we listen and then we forget about it. It has to be part of it. That was very, very well said. And so thank you very much.
Dr. Gururaj Karajiki said in his inaugural lecture, you must finally aspire to become unconsciously competitive. Unconsciously competitive. We may not reach there. That he made it clear in his presentation. We may not reach there, but a few steps in that direction is worth worth its value in gold. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. So, Dr. Gururaj Karajiki, that is, of course, a great introduction to your talk. I just wanted to say I'm so happy to have you here, and your thoughts in the first lecture also made me reflect on the teachers and gurus in my own journey through life, not just in school, but later too, in work, in friendship, and so many places you can find gurus. So over to you, sir.
At the outset, I offer my pranams to all of you on this beautiful day of Guru Purnima. This is a day on which we remember and recollect and cherish the memories of great teachers who made us what we are today. Without a great teacher, in fact, Kabir says beautifully, if God and Guru were to be at your doorstep, whom do you respect first and welcome? He says, I'll respect and welcome the Guru first, because he shows the way of God. It's a lovely way of saying it. And we are all, by divine design, teachers. We're honored that we are teachers. Many times I wonder, what is the purpose of education? We go to schools, we go to colleges, we get certificates and feel happy that we have got big certificates. But is that the end of education? Because Guru Manthan has brought out various aspects of education. The whole spectrum is available. I was thinking at the end of it, school, college, or anything else, a certificate dispensing machine, or beyond that, what should get? Because when you, as a teacher, start the class, I read the objectives of the lesson. Why do I teach this? At the end of the class, or at the end of the year that I'm teaching a particular course, what the student should know, 1, 2, 3, 4, I make a list of it. Similarly, can we make a list of what a student should have at the end of his education? That we should do. Don't you think you go to a market with a particular intention, and at the end of it, I was very happy when Melly mentioned about what is your feeling about the whole program? What is the takeaway? She was asking question to people, what is the takeaway? Similarly, I would like to ask, what is the takeaway of education? I'll tell something interesting. I shared somewhere else, but worth repeating it. If you have a maid servant in the house, you can tell her, don't come from tomorrow. She'll not be worried. Don't worry, I got another 4 houses. You should be worried whether she would leave you. You should take care to see that she doesn't leave you. A plumber is not scared of losing job. A carpenter is not scared of losing job. But our postgraduates are mortally scared of losing jobs. I'm wondering, the education which should have given them confidence in life, has it taken away the confidence? It happened to me. I was in Los Angeles in the year 2009. A friend of mine took to a house. There was a sad thing there, tragedy. A man had committed suicide. He was about 43, 44, around that age man. He was an extremely brilliant man. His education, he did his BTech from IIT Chennai and did his MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. These are the 2 degrees we flash around in the world that we are highly qualified. And then he worked in a big company in US and was drawing salary, which is equivalent to about 4 crores of Indian rupees there. Family of he and his wife and 2 children, he had committed suicide. We went to the house and expressed our condolences to the lady and asked her, what was the reason? What did happen? She said, I don't know. America was getting into a recession at that time and his friend lost a job. And he thought the axe will fall on him now. Maybe that scared him. It may be a rare example, maybe very, very rare exception, I agree. But I felt my education failed. If your degree, qualification and all that does not tell you that there are many other jobs available to you, doesn't give the confidence that nothing happens if I lose a job, then what worth is my degree, my education? I was thinking, when you go on a trip, say 15 days tour elsewhere, you pack your suitcase. What goes in the suitcase is decided by what? What you pack in the suitcase. Imagine I'm going to a cold place in Himachal Pradesh in the month of January. It's biting cold. I'll carry thermals, sweaters, scarf, gloves, good socks, shoes, because I'm going to a cold place. If I'm going to Rajasthan in July, which is pretty hot, I don't carry all of them. I carry only light t-shirts, cotton dress, chappals is okay. So therefore, what goes in the suitcase is decided by where I'm going. Similarly, can we pack our suitcase of our children? We don't know where are they going. At the end of education, you have seen many people, what they learn in the school is totally different from what they are doing in society. How do I make them confident to face any challenge of life? I was completely lost. What should be packed in the suitcase of a child? I got some kind of a crude answer about 2 years ago. I was in London and I was going to Paris. Myself and my wife are going by the train which goes under the sea. It's a direct train from London to Paris. We boarded in London. After some time, 10-15 young men and women came into the compartment with the typical travel dress, Bermudas and t-shirts with a heavy backpack. They were giggling and laughing with each other. They came and occupied the places. I make friendship very fast. One lady was sitting next to me, asked her, where are you going? She looked around and said, he asked the fellow sitting in the front, hey, where are you going, man? I said, my God, you are traveling. Don't you know where are you going? She said, I don't know. Because we are a gang of 15 people. We go to the airport or the bus stand. We go to the bus station, railway station, take the ticket for the first train that comes. We take the last stop. We are going to see the country. Name does not matter to us. We go there, stay for 8 days, look around the country, write our journals and write articles on that. Again, my suitcase came to me. If you don't know where were you going, how did you pack your backpack? I asked her. She said, doesn't matter. We have got 2-3 thermals and some Bermudas also we have got, light dress, both we have got, chappals and shoes both. If it is warm, we wear this dress. If it is cold, we wear the other dress. Oh my God, should we not pack our suitcase of our children like that? Be prepared for any eventuality in life? Then I thought, what should go in the suitcase? I'm convinced now, 3 things must go into the suitcase. My education should put these 3 things in them. First is faith in self. I'm not poor, I'm not weak. I may not know certain things, but I'm capable of learning that. The learning to learn, that gives you tremendous confidence in yourself. I can learn anything. I don't know, but I can learn. The safe faith in self. Second is most important, the culture. I'm completely convinced now, anyone who is bereft of his own culture, look at any person who has succeeded in life. They're all grateful to the culture in which they came up. Anyone who ignores the culture cannot be successful. And third and most important, which we are lacking much, is national pride. National pride. You always want to be selfish. Yeah, I want to get this. I go to any place, but doesn't matter. I want to be happy. But I should develop in them the spirit of patriotism. When I was working as the principal of an international school, I had few children coming from different countries, 15 different countries. One boy refused to sing the national anthem. He did not refuse as such, he did not sing. Our PT master dragged him into my chamber and said, why, gentlemen, you are not singing? He said, sir, it's not my national anthem, sir. It's my national anthem is different. And with such pride, he said it. I had 2 options to do. One is to admonish him, shut up, go and sing the national anthem. He would have done that, but grudgingly. I told him, don't worry about it, don't worry. You go to the Sanskrit department, there is one Mr. Ranganath, he will teach you a song. I asked him, if you go to somebody's house, they give you food, give you some gifts, what do you do? I thank them, sir, he said. Good. If you go to somebody's house, they keep you for 15 days, take you around the place, show everything. I thank them, sir. I said, now child, you have come to India. You're walking on the Indian soil, drinking Indian water, breathing Indian air, and you're taught by Indian teachers, and I am the Indian principal. What do you do? He looked a little puzzled. Sir, I thank you, sir. I said, okay, thank you. But the land is not mine, the air is not mine, the grains are not mine. What are you going to do? I don't know, sir. Please tell me, sir. So don't worry. You go to Sanskrit department, there's Ranganath, he will teach you a song. This is a song with which we express our gratitude towards our land. And I told Ranganath, he comes there, teach him national anthem. And he taught him the national anthem. And with the meaning, completely meaning told. Next Monday, I was so thrilled. This boy was singing national anthem with chest up. I went on the stage and announced, probably this is the only boy in the whole audience who is singing the national anthem with the meaning known. With the meaning known. Why I'm saying is, can I not put this national pride in our students? We are telling, every school start telling, I'll make you so confident, I'll make you independent. To me, the question of independence has no meaning. In this world of connected world, nobody is independent. We are all interdependent. Interdependent. Can we not teach that? And the last word, I got 15 minutes time, I don't want to transcend that. When Satish mentioned beautifully about crossing the boundaries and frontiers, I'll tell you, this is the one which has been bothering me, Praveen, for quite some time. When you think of Guru Manthan next time or these things, take up these issues, I thought. It was about, I don't know, 15, 16 years ago. I was in Geneva. I was to chair a session of discussion in academics. In Europe, a big discussion was going on. It's still there. There are two groups. Education, the root of the word education is educare. There are two schools of thought. One say, education has come from the root educare, E-D-U-C-A-R-E. But another group equally vehemently says, no, that's not the purpose. Educere, E-D-U-C-E-R-E. Educere is the root of education. And what is the meaning of both? Educare means to draw out. The talent is already in the child, you have to draw it out. That's what Swami Vivekananda mentioned. Education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. It is already there, bring it out. And it also means grinding, drilling, making you perfect. Educere does not make people perfect. It says go beyond, go beyond. And there was a school of thought, both were arguing very strongly. And as a president, I had to make some remarks. I told them, look, I don't know why are you fighting. Both are ingredients which are necessary for education. Absolutely inextricably interwoven. Inextricably interwoven. Educare means to bring out, drill, give them confidence, repeat it, make it pakka, thorough. It's okay, that's required. But more beyond that is educere, to transcend. I gave an example, Indian classical music or any classical music in the world. You have got ragas. I'm talking of specifically in Indian context. I have seen people dedicating years and years to learn one raga. They understand the nuances of the raga, the arohana, the avarohana, the tana, pallavi, everything they have to understand thoroughly. And if you slightly go beyond it, hey, the raga is lost. So therefore, if you want to sing in a classical way, you understand the boundaries of the raga thoroughly well, thoroughly, and practice it for many, many months and years. But if you go on singing within the boundaries of that raga, you can't discover another raga. Another Bal Murali Krishna, from where will he come? He has designed so many ragas. How can it happen? That means you should be within the boundaries of the raga, understand it thoroughly, but don't stay there. Transcend and go beyond and discover something else. The purpose of education is to understand my own limits, understand the boundaries of my limits, and also realize that I'm not meant to stay in the boundary. I'm designed to go beyond it. I'm designed to go beyond it. So educare and educere have to go together. There is no way otherwise. I was just thinking, how many people, all outstanding creative people you see, they never said, I can't do it. In fact, in my email ID, I have one tagline I always write. Creativity is all about stretching yourself to your limits, only to discover there are no limits. There's no limits. Absolutely none of us have any limits. Can we not teach our children that? And the last word I want to mention this is education. We are talking about what happens in the classroom transactions. Take it from me, my friends, in 10 years from now, to be honest, classroom becomes irrelevant. You have to learn outside the classroom. We have learned enough in the classrooms now. We have put them in these four walls. And next, meaningful education will come only when they go out of it. We have to think of a lot of activities and projects and social commitment. Don't you think SVYM is a product of that? If Balu had stayed in the medical college, he would have remained a good doctor at best, made little more money. But the very fact he decided to come out of it and build his own team, SVYM is a shining icon today. Therefore, I am trying to say, teach what Balu learned was more outside the Mysore Medical College than within the Mysore Medical College. We have to give experiences of children. I have tried some experiments, very, very successful experiments. Annapurna program is one we tried. To make these children feel that I'm not just here for myself, I have something more to do. I have to connect with other people. And the last one is teachers training program that we have been doing in Guru Manthan. I'm hats off to them. Human mind doesn't get changed in one hour or one situation. Maybe there are some transformative moments for some people it can happen. But for normal people, it takes a long time. Take a piece of paper, fold in the corner and straighten it up. Can you remove the crease on this paper? Can you remove the crease on this paper? Difficult. You have to fold the other way around. Even if you take a hot iron and press on that, the crease can still be seen. If this is so difficult to remove, a crease on an inert material like paper, it definitely requires more time to remove the creases on the human mind. It requires repeated performance. Iron rod can be cut with a hammer. The first hammer will not cut it. Maybe 20th hammer will cut it. It is not the 20th hammer that cut it. It is the accumulated effort of all the 20 hammers that can cut it. Similarly, have repetitive programs. Make them learn more and more. I always say, anything done frequently becomes a habit. Habit continued for a long time becomes an attitude. Only it becomes an attitude, becomes part of your life. I'll close my talk with a small example. Without example, I can't stop. I was in Tokyo many years ago, 4 decades ago. I had to go to another place called Osaka. It was about a long drive. I started from Tokyo at about 11 o'clock at night, perhaps. And Tokyo is a very crowded place. I came out of it. I told the driver, I put off the AC, open the glass, let me have fresh air. Car was going at about 12:45 at night. Nobody was on the road. Road was completely quiet. We had to cross an unmanned railway signal. Unmanned railway signal, no signal, no security guard there. We had to go there, see whether left, right, and then cross. I was watching this driver. He was about 60-year-old man. Since I had put off the AC, he put his hand out and started gesturing like this. It's a standard gesture that make an international thing. I'm slowing down, don't come and bang me. He put his hand out and started making gestures. And then slowly as the railway line came there, he stopped, virtually stopped, looked left and right. I could see from a distance there was no train coming. He just passed the railway track and came to the hotel. After reaching the hotel, I asked him, gentlemen, you made a gesture like this. For whose sake you made the gesture? This gesture is made for the driver coming behind you to tell him that don't come and bang me, I'm slowing down. But there was no cycle also, forget about a car. At least 1 kilometer behind you, there was no vehicle. Why did you gesture this? And secondly, you could see the train was not coming, but virtually stopped the car, looked left and right, and then crossed the signal. Why did you do that? His answer was fabulous, fabulous. He said, what to do, sir? Habits. He has the habit of gesturing and stopping at 12:45 at night. And we don't do that in Majestic Circle at 5:30 in the evening. And somebody bangs, I raise my shoulder and start fighting. Why it happens is, right from childhood, the children are trained. It becomes not habit, it becomes an attitude. Same thing, one attitude has to come into our teachers. One most important attitude is, I'm not responsible to the syllabus. I'm responsible to the child. I'm not responsible to the syllabus, I'm responsible to the child. That Guru Manthan has done a remarkable job in bringing that essence to all of them. And when you continue Guru Manthan, I think these could be good pointers to take forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. There are so many different points here. I have no time to address all of them, but I really like what you said to the end. that you're not beholden to the syllabus, you're beholden to the child. You have to
Yes.
think of the child, and that was very good. And also what you mentioned early on about learning how to learn, I think that is what has helped me in my life. I feel that my early teachers were able to instill in me the ability to learn how to learn. And I think once children have that, I think many things can follow. Many things can follow there. Thank you very much. There's a lot of very comments coming on the chat box about how they're all fans of you and so on. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Dr. Balu, who will give the closing remarks. So Dr. Balu, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there, Melly. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Hello.
Thank you so much. I know it's such a pleasure just listening, so I don't even think I should be speaking. And anybody trying to speak after Dr. Gururaj Karjagi is demonstrating his inability to speak in comparison. So thank you, it's so wonderful. And it's a special thing for us that we start with, from Guru to Guru. Gururaj Karjagi to Gururaj Karjagi and ending on Guru Purnima. So it was such a wonderful year-long thing. And I must say, when Praveen first came to discuss about this extraordinary process, everybody was excited, as was I. And we thought, you know what, we should do this. And in my mind, somewhere, some corner, I thought COVID will disappear in 3 months. If we can somehow manage to get some 15 or 16 extraordinary speakers, and then we won't need to have Guru Manthan. But I never really planned for Praveen in the equation. So 1 week after other, the way he meticulously went about thinking through the whole thing, he and Ramesh plotting together, conspiring to get as many good people for all of us. The journey has been extraordinary. The journey has been fascinating. And I think, in my view, my regret is I couldn't join all the sessions. And hopefully that since it's all technology, it'll be online and we should all make some time to listen to it. I'm sure it's all there for posterity. But more importantly, for us at SVYM, as we continue this experimentation, this journey of trying to discover ourselves and discover the many different adventures that we can embark on, we hope that in the days to come, all that we learned in the last 1 year will go into this conceptualization of what is taking shape in our minds and also in brick and mortar in some ways. The Vivekananda Center for Human Excellence, which will encompass all the educational efforts that we're putting together. So looking at from the child, possibly from the home to tomb kind of an approach, where we try to make learning eternal, perpetual, continuous, and lifelong for all of us and for every child that we come across in different spaces, different ecosystems. And I'm hoping that Praveen and his team will possibly make this turn this dream into reality in the next few years to come. So I'm sure our team at SVYM will put their shoulders together and make this happen. But more importantly, the learnings of Guru Manthan cannot just be on a technology platform or on YouTube. What we hope to do is distill out all these learnings. The first lecture of Dr. Karjagi to this lecture of today, so wonderful. And every time he speaks, there's so much to learn. It's always something new. I always sort of envy him. How can he even remember what he gives around tens and tens of talks every week? But every talk is different. Every article of his is different. So it's a great privilege that such speakers, we're going to put them all together, these nuggets of wisdom that we got from 50 different people, and possibly bring out a book which can be one single source, a repository of information for any genuine seeker and experimenter and adventurer like us, who doesn't have to go through this entire cycle, and he just gets it in a one-stop shop kind of atmosphere and put it together. So Guru Manthan, like Satish mentioned, started off as it's a one-day event of creative teachers coming together. Then it became online because of COVID. And now we need to know how it will evolve. And none of us have any great ideas how it's going to evolve, but we are sure it will evolve. And the book is one evolution, but our experimentation, the Center for Human Excellence, is another. So hopefully in the days to come, we hope to continue this network. This huge social capital that's been created for the nation cannot go wasted. We all are going to be together in this journey. And we seek, a lot of speakers are there in this session today. We seek all your guidance. You know, I always used to tell Praveen, the barometer for our program Guru Manthan, you know, it's a very quantitative barometer which cannot really be taken as an instrument of measurement, but the number of attendees. But number of attendees have been consistent. I've been last 1 year in so many webinars, meetings. You get Zoom fatigue. You want to zoom out of the conversation, right? But then you look at Guru Manthan, not less than 150 people sitting here, talking, interacting, engaging, sharing. So let's take this sharing forward. Let's challenge each other, like Melly said. Let's network with each other. Let's build the energy, a cohort of right-thinking people who believe in positive approaches, believe in keeping the child the center of all our thinking and our work. And hopefully together, we can really build the new India that Swami Vivekananda dreamt of. And in that building a new India, it becomes a model where peace, prosperity, harmony, goodwill, humanity can all coexist. And in that space where compassionate capitalism will not be a slogan, but it will really be working towards destroying the inequities that current models are creating. And in doing that, we'll possibly become the Jagat Guru that Vivekananda wanted us to do. And with that, I want to wish every one of you, I want to thank you all heartfully for your for making this a celebratory event, for being with us, and wish you all on this Guru Purnima my respects to every teacher, every human being, because I believe everybody is a teacher. You cannot take the teacher out of a human being as much as you cannot take the learner out of a human being too. I think we all in our own way shape each other. Let's continue to do so. Let's be in touch. And thank you all so much. Namaste.
Thank you very much, Dr. Balu. That was a very fitting end to this wonderful series that we have. And listening to everyone, I must say that I think the impact has been beyond what we in Asha would have expected. It's beyond, I think, my wildest dreams. I'm really very heartened to see so many positive thoughts coming. I was thinking I should maybe have had a question. What didn't you like about Guru Manthan? Maybe I should have had that question at the beginning, because there was so many.
I have an answer. Huh? I didn't like my not being able to participate every.
Oh, okay, that's good. Right.
That was the discipline that was followed in each one of these programs was exemplary. It started on time, and all the presenters were on time, and the questions were handled very well by the speakers, and Ramesh and Praveen, they did a wonderful job. Just if you permit me, I have just two suggestions. If you permit me, very briefly.
Yes, go ahead.
One is, teachers should find opportunities to express themselves, even if it is not matching with the presenter's point of view, even if they deviate from the topic. That alone is empowering. Unless they start speaking, sharing, they will not be empowered. They will become passive listeners. This is my point number one. For some such efforts that may be repeated in future, we must involve. For example, Dr. Melial, your presentation on science groups, you see, where your presentation was very, very limited, whereas the participants were expressing themselves. And in fact, that program stood out just for the structure of the program itself, where teachers were expressing or the participants were expressing. I think we must give some scope for teachers to share their ideas. This is point number one. Secondly, I understand why this was in English. I understand because people from other parts of India and abroad, they too could join. But there is an urgent need to repeat it in the local language, so that people can participate without any inhibition. English itself can be a stumbling block for many people to express. They may have an idea, but language should not be a barrier. And therefore, there is a need, I think SVYM can think on these lines. These two suggestions I'm just presenting before you. Thank you.
These are excellent suggestions, Satish sir. Especially the language also. I've had a lot of discussions. I keep mentioning this to Praveen. We have to do this in Kannada. I understand you want to reach India, but you have to do this in Kannada, because I completely agree. I completely agree with you. And thank you very much for your earlier point as well about more dialogue and discussion. You very excellently summarized that. And I think you helped me put my finger on maybe one of the drawbacks, which was more, it was kind of lecture mode rather than a discussion mode. And that gives us, I think, a lot of thought about what we would do for the next stage of this, right? How do we have more forums where we have more dialogue and discussion, which goes beyond lectures? That is a great suggestion. Thank you very much. So like I said, I'm so happy to have had the opportunity to be part of this. I think it has been a great journey for me as well. And I'm really very hopeful, listening to Gopal Krishna sir and others who are administrators in the audience, that they will be able to take this further beyond the teachers who are part of this regularly. That would be my fervent hope, that we're able to have a ripple effect and it goes beyond this group. So so let's keep talking about what we can do next. And I think we do want to have some thoughts and discussions, like Balu was saying, we're not sure exactly how it is, but you've given us some good direction, Satish sir. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it possible to bring a small booklet which captures the essence of each one of these 50 presentations? It can be, it can be documented. I don't know, it's already on the YouTube. It's
coming out. We are planning on that, and it will soon come.
Okay. Thank you.
So I see a question there from what next for next Saturday at 7 p.m. So
we're planning something that we announce soon.
Right. So I leave that to Praveen and Ramesh and others to come up with some ideas. Well, I personally like the idea of a dialogue and discussion. And I should also at this point thank Praveen and Ramesh very, very much for like Satish sir was just saying, for an excellent moderation, always starting on time. And that I attribute completely to Praveen. I would be late, but he's always on time. and Ramesh for excellent moderation of all the questions. So all of that, they did that very well. And to continue to do it, I mean, consistently for 50 weeks, rain or shine, is very, it's very hard. So with all of that, on this day of Guru Purnima, I wish everyone all the very best. I hope that you will take this and continue to make great impact in your communities. And I hope we can all continue to work together to enable the potential that every teacher has, which in turn can help enable the potential in every child that is out there, because that is really the only way for progress. We have to enable potential every child has so that we can all move forward together. So with that, thank you very much. I hope to be in touch with all of you and hope to continue this dialogue and discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Melir. Thank you. Wonderful. Where are Ramesh and Praveen? Not Praveen. Now Praveen has...
They chose to be mute today.
Oh, yeah. True.
They're actually existing by their absence.
Many people might have worked behind the scenes. They may not be visible to us. Thank you.
Very true. Very true. We should acknowledge them too. The staff at SUIM who was